We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am one of your hosts, Blake Ruffino. Alongside me is my counterpart, the hater himself, the man who does not know quarterback play, Joe DeLeone. Good evening, sir.
God forbid, Blake.
You cannot run out there talking shit about LSU and think that I'm not going to come out here and start firing back.
But it was okay. But here's actually the perfect summation of all this. The perfect way to summarize all this. The quote that is said in my episode, and also if you looked at my 2024 NFL draft wide receiver rankings, it was because I was talking about how Malik Neighbors was a really good receiver. And I wonder if he got the football more consistently and got more opportunities to make plays, what his production would have been like. Because, look, I'm not sitting here saying that Jane Daniels is the worst quarterback in the SEC. That wasn't the statement. I was merely critically evaluating his arm strength. He doesn't have the arm.
Did you count for the 18 drops Malik Neighbors had last year?
I wasn't talking about that, though. I was accounting for one particular play that caught my attention against Georgia. And I wonder if you know the play that I'm talking about.
Oh, you mean when he had a dislocated ankle?
He
beat Jane Daniels?
This was earlier in the game. He beat – oh, no, maybe he –
Do you mean when he had a dislocated ankle?
Neighbors beats Keely Ringo. He is separating away from him, and he completely underthrows a wide-open Malik Neighbors. And it's tipped by Keely Ringo. But that arm strength stuff shows up on every single game, man. Am I not allowed to talk on his arm strength? Do I have to act like every single LSU player is a top 5
Considering
pick?
You thought Trey Lance was an elite quarterback, no, you don't have the right anymore. You've been revoked.
I can take swings. I mean, I see good athletes that have big arms. And Jane Daniels isn't that.
We clearly see you taking swings. We also clearly see you missing.
You miss 100. Wait, what's the quote? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
That's for women.
What?
That phrase is about women.
I like good athletic quarterbacks that have powerful arms, not ones that.
You mean something that Notre Dame's not had since 1985?
Sam Hartman's got a stronger arm than Jane Daniels does.
He also, well, here's the truth. He's also never won the SEC West, and he has a leg tattoo. He has a leg tattoo.
He's got juice.
What?
He's got juice.
He also sucks, and that's why he's going to lose to Navy this week. But it is week 0. We are talking about these week 0 games. I am going to get after you a little bit. Listen, here's the truth. Y'all can continue to say that he has a weak arm. I don't agree with you. Mm-hmm. Pop in the Florida film.
Okay.
And watch him outplay. If you're going to talk about a pass, okay, sounds good. But arm strength does not mean everything. I'm just going to say that. But we will get into –
Okay.
Go ahead. I was just going to say – for the entire opening of it. Go ahead.
That wasn't the talking point, though. It's not that I'm saying that he's bad. I'm just saying that if I'm evaluating one category of quarterback evaluations, it's throw power. It's arm strength. Can he throw the ball further than 50 yards?
And the wise words of the prophet – I shouldn't say prophet – of the theologian Conor McGregor. Timing beats power.
Maybe in college football. I'm evaluating him as a
Joe Burrow doesn't have massive arm strength.
He has a much bigger arm.
He's better than Justin Herbert.
He's got a much bigger arm than Jane Daniels did, though. All right, we're here to preview week 0. We've done this 4 times.
We're here to preview week 0. Joe, we do have some games. We'll give our pick'ems. And also the Swamp Kings documentary is released about Florida, which was very interesting. We'll get into. And then if we have time there at the end, we'll talk a little ACC, possibly adding 3 teams, and ESPN saying that they'll give $72 million, which, you know what, might keep Florida State at bay. It might just keep Florida State at bay. I mean,
I'd be curious if it does. That is, and I saw you tweeted that out. That's an underlying aspect to this, is that where does that play into Florida State's decision-making to stay where they are?
I mean, I don't think all $72 million goes to those teams. Maybe it will. But We'll see. It's interesting. We might talk about it there at the end, but we finally have some football we talk about. Not big games, but I think some things maybe we want to see from some of these bigger ones. Notre Dame, Vandy, I guess you could call a bigger team, being that they're in the SEC, and USC. We got Louisiana Tech and other teams that are playing. We'll talk about those as well in our pick'ems. But Joe, I'm excited. It's finally here. We get to break down football. It's been an entirely too long of an off season, what the casuals call an off season. But like I like to say, the non-playing portion of the season, because football never sleeps. But we'll break down mainly today here Hawaii versus Vandy, Navy versus Notre Dame in Dublin, Ireland, and San Jose State versus USC. So the big real three. Usually, Joe, I'm sure in season we'll talk about a solid 5, or we'll just probably talk about the whole week. Games that intrigue us. But the other games, I mean, a lot of people are not, I know Louisiana people will, but people around the country probably aren't intrigued about FIU and Louisiana Tech.
Is Louisiana Tech a thing in Louisiana? Like, do you guys give them any love?
More northern Louisiana, where they're at, not really. Okay. In southern Louisiana, no, not really. They're a good school. Been up there a couple times. You had a girlfriend that went to school there. It's an interesting place. I mean, she was weird sometimes, but I mean, other than that, I mean, Ruston's a cool place, but see, like their main bars that was open from a guy that's from South Louisiana, actually called Ponchatoula's. Not too bad. Food sucks. Beer's great. They had big barrels, like massive barrels, and they go up and they pour the beer from the barrel. It's actually pretty cool.
That's so strange.
It's also really cool. And it's basically redneck heaven, if I'm just being honest.
I mean, it sounds like it. I would assume that's probably a lot of parts of
Louisiana. And I'm not a redneck. I'm just a country boy. There's a massive difference.
I think I've slowly figured that out in my time of doing this show with you, but
yep.
I'm going to watch that game. I will go as far as saying I will watch that game
too, but I'm just saying around the country, it's not like, oh my God, Louisiana Tech's playing. So we'll see. We got a lot to get into here today. We got a couple of comments in here. Chris H says, I dated a girl from Tech one time. She was very odd, but very fun. I think that's a very good characteristic. I would label it.
Is that like a thing in Louisiana that like everybody has dated a girl that went to Louisiana Tech? Is that like a running gag or something?
No, not really. I mean, at least not that I know of, but they are pretty hot and pretty weird.
Are they at least smart? Like, is that like what the
Louisiana Tech's not a bad college. It's not a bad college.
It's not Tulane though. It's not like
no, Tulane academically wise is the creme de la creme. Elks 70 says, let's be honest, Blake Daniels' yards per attempt was bad. I don't disagree with that. And he's got to take shots down the field. He's got to take more shots down the field. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Chris H again says, clip it, Joe. Joe said Daniels is the worst quarterback in the SEC.
Did you see somebody clipped last week when I was paid to say go Tigers?
No, did they really?
Yeah. Somebody clipped it and they tagged the Ruffino and Joe handle. I did not acknowledge it, but somebody posted that.
Oh, I'm going to find it now. I'm 100% going to find it.
It's in our notifications. It's not that far off.
Okay. Well, I really like that. Don Scruggs says Florida stinks like Yankee poo.
I don't have any. I do not like Florida. That's actually a good.
Well, I got to tell you something. Listen, just stay with me here. I think I'm changing my pick on Florida versus Utah. I think I'm going Gators.
Why?
Because Utah's on their 4th-string quarterback. That's why.
Is Cam Rising hurt? Am I
Cam
missing
Rising's
something?
Hurt and he's out. So
he's guaranteed for sure out as of right now.
He hasn't practiced all summer. Like he would have to come back on Tuesday and then be ready to go by Saturday and have no preseason, like not even a practice. Like I get that guys in the NFL like don't do preseason games, but like if you're watching Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers hasn't played, okay? He will this Sunday, or whenever they play, but he hasn't played. Joe, this thing, and then both of their backup quarterbacks got hurt or something like that, or at least one of them did. So they're on the third, fourth string quarterback. Joe, this is not looking good, man. I get what he's saying in the comments. You can play whatever quarterback to beat Florida.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's where I lean, and we're not to get too ahead of ourselves.
That's not right. That's horseshit, and you know that's horseshit. Florida's going to go up there and beat that Mormon ass.
Not to get ahead of ourselves. That is a unrecognized territory and terrain for Florida to have to play in, to go play all the way up in the mountains, high altitude. There's no way for them to replicate having to play in that type of environment.
No doubt.
I will say, though, that their strength is their defense and it's their run game. So I'm not really that worried if Cam Rising doesn't play, because Florida is such a mess.
I'm just going to tell you, if another sub 500 SEC team goes up to Utah and beats them, I am going to be unbearable.
I also would be shocked that they don't try to get Cam on the field.
Well, I'm cutting all bullshit aside. If you're not, and I know we're getting the previewing this, if you're not worried about being your third, fourth string quarterback, you should be worried. That's a massive deal.
Yes. Yeah, there should be some fear for Utah fans, but I'm still picking Utah. I'm not going to pick Florida to travel all that way with all their crap and with Graham Mertz playing quarterback. I'm just not.
Okay, well, that's fine. But athletically, a lot of people have poo-pooed on Florida. They're bad at certain areas with Billy Napier and quarterback play. At least they have a dude that has experience and has been getting reps. They still have dudes defensively too. Like they led the SEC in 3-and-outs with Anthony Richardson last year. Mm-hmm. They led the SEC in third down conversions last year. So let's not get twisted on, defensively, when their offense was moving, they were not bad. You can say what you want, but going to that third string quarterback is a big deal. But we got a week 0 stuff to break down.
Yeah,
we'll do that next week. But and I know that changes. Yes. Joe, the line changed 7 points yesterday. The line literally moved a touchdown.
Free money.
Okay. All right. Y'all can say that if y'all want to.
I'm putting that bet down. I'm making my free money.
All right. Well, go ahead, and you're going to get your cheeks clapped. Let's do this. Everybody do it. I try to be funny and not to laugh. You make yourself laugh, but I make myself laugh. All right. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. If you're on Facebook, share to your own social media pages, share to those Facebook groups. It helps us out so much when you hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, do the same. Hit the like, share, comment button, all of that good stuff. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. And if you're watching us on Fubo TV, welcome. Let's talk about our good friends over at BetOnline. We got week 0. Finally, The Rock. Oh, wait, that's not it. Finally, there it is.
There we go. Go Irish, baby. Let's do this. What? I can't say go Irish? You're really trying to censor me on this show.
What do you think about, do you love the Irish?
Yeah, damn right I do.
It doesn't matter what you love.
Hit the damn ad.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
We're back. I'm not making fun of Texas on this one because we are back. College football is back. Week 0 is here. We got some really good games. Joe, I'm going to make you suffer and wait to talk about your Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I'm going to go elsewhere because I think that –
Fine.
I think that game it's scheduled to be a little bit closer than maybe others because Navy, runs a triple option. Maybe can get goofy. You're going to another country. I mean, Hawaii sucks. San Jose sucks. I mean, Notre Dame, the Notre Dame game in Ireland is the premier matchup of the weekend.
Yep.
So let's wait to go there. I am really intrigued about Hawaii versus Vandy. Let me tell you why. I think Clark Lee might have a little bit of a team here. They have some weapons on the outside for him or for AJ Swan. Swan is back. Defensively, they got a lot of players back. They've developed really well. Look, it's Hawaii, and there's no reason why Vandy shouldn't go out there and cream them. Now, Vandy, as an athletic department, has been really crappy. Their stadium's not even ready. They're still renovating things. At least they're trying. Vandy has a decent squad, man. They have a decent squad. They could go sub 500. And for them, that's a big deal. Here's the one thing I'm looking for them. If AJ Swan is who we think he may be and could be, man, when you have good quarterback play in college football, like when you have good quarterback play, you win games that you might not supposed to win. With that being said, I'm really keeping my eyes on this one because of a team we just talked about. Man, could they go into Gainesville and beat Florida? Like, can they go into Gainesville and beat Florida? Can they, if their offense is going to do some of the things that people think that they can do with AJ Swan, could they upset a Kentucky and to get closer to that 500 mark? Can they take down a South Carolina? Who knows? Can they finally get to that mark? We find that out. I just want to see what they look offensively. I think Clark Lee defensively will have game plans ready to go. I'm not worried about them defensively. I'm more worried about them offensively. I think AJ Swan does take that next step, and Vandy, people might say, hey, man, Vandy didn't look too bad against Hawaii. And I get it. It's Hawaii, but still.
Yeah, there's only so much that you can really take away from a Hawaii versus Vanderbilt matchup.
I agree.
But if we remember last year and last season, this game was a joke. This game was considered to be the butt of the joke for the college football week 0 slate. And Vanderbilt comes out swinging and completely demolishes Hawaii on the road at Hawaii. And you talked about, I think, the main thing for me that I'm paying attention to in this game. And I think that we already know that Clark Lee is building a new defensive unit. There's some young bodies that are on this Vanderbilt defense that we're going to get some exposure to. But AJ Swan is taking over this quarterback job. I want to see what he's got in him. Is he going to have as much of a debut as Malik Wright did last year? Is he going to explode onto the scene and have a really big game? And maybe there's one or two receivers that he can have as consistent go-to options.
Louisiana kid, by the way.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, a really good close buddy of mine, Hutch Gonzalez, was his head coach at Mandeville.
I didn't even know that. There's so many guys that freaking come out of Louisiana. It's insane.
Yeah, well, specifically receivers. But, I mean, the kid can play, man. The kid can really play.
Yeah, he's got some juice to him. And when he ended up playing towards got a little bit of exposure and opportunities at the end of last season, this could be a big year for him. A year for him to step up. I had placed Vanderbilt at the bottom of my power rankings for the SEC just because they're Vanderbilt. But can they come out firing? Can they be an offensively explosive team? Again, I know that it's Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to take much to beat Hawaii, but we can at least get some glimpses of what they're capable of.
Well, look, in Cherokee High School, where AJ Swan went to, is a pretty good program at developing players. Like I think he kind of gets overshadowed because he plays in Cherokee, played at Cherokee. But the kid's, like you mentioned, got juice. He can move a little bit. He's got a decent arm. He's moderately accurate. And Joe, they like him a lot. Like Clark Lee speaks about him like he would speak about a really good mid to mid-tier SEC quarterback. I just want to see Vandy good again. I just want to, well, not again, but like I want to see them be competitive. How about that? Like, instead of getting beat by 50, like, hey, man, get beat by 21. Be competitive. Keep that game close through 2.5 quarters. I think Clark Lee's an amazing dude. I think he's an amazing coach. I just think that they'll be more disciplined. I do think that they've done really well at recruiting and developing lower star talented kids. Like we saw Alabama go and get their left tackle and Tyler Steen not too long ago. So you look at the development that this team and these players have had under Clark Lee. I just want to see, I do want to see more of that. The one thing that I do hate to bring up, the one thing about this though, man, I kind of am pulling for Hawaii after what everybody in Maui's going through. You know, like I'm just like, man, please just come out there with your hair on probably a bad choice of words there, but you get what I mean. They're like, come out there with like energy, enthusiasm, wanting to play for something. And you just hate for that. And look, man, they're traveling not only from Hawaii to California, but they're traveling all the way to Nashville. That is a long, long trip. You just really hope that they come out and play with some emotion, man, because that's so awful, like what Hawaii and Maui's going through, man.
Yeah, quick correction on my part, by the way. It's Mike Wright was their quarterback at the start of last season that I meant to reference. But yeah, I think that's an aspect of this that is going to get focused on for this game with the natural disasters and the fires that happened in Hawaii. I don't know the proximity to the university, but I'm sure that there were players on this team that were impacted in one way or another by the tragedy of that happened there. And Hawaii is such a unique place where I feel like most of the players at the University of Hawaii come from that region, and it's in such a secluded, far area that everyone bleeds being a part of that program, being a part of and representing Hawaii, those that do decide to stay in the state. It's good for them, I think, that they're getting this spotlight opportunity to play in week 0 again in back-to-back years. And I know that like our perspective, we're hoping that Vanderbilt comes out and is no longer the doormat of the SEC and they come out swinging and they're beating the crap out of the non-conference opponents that they have. But at the same time, kind of hoping that doesn't happen, because it's not, you beat up on Hawaii to that point where you're talking about here. Maybe that's not the best of looks.
Well, I look at Vandy too, and I accidentally exited out of this Vandy offensive stats. Hold on, because I wanted to pull this. I wanted to talk about this and pull this up. So Vandy last year was 5-7 under Clark Lee. They had a 2-6 in conference record. Swan did go. This is the thing for me, Joe. There's one thing that he's got to improve. Okay, he's got to improve accuracy wise. He was 58% last year, but he did throw for 1,274 yards. He had a 10-2 touchdown to interception ratio, but they do run the ball try to run the ball pretty effectively. The thing for me is you talk about Will Shepherd. He had 60 catches, 776 yards last year and 9 touchdowns. Joe, he could be one of those guys. I forget who was the receiver that came out of Vandy not too long ago that got drafted really high.
Oh my God.
Wore like number 80. I forget. I forget.
Jordan Matthews, is it?
Yeah, it was Matthews. That's right. It was Jordan Matthews. They always have like every 4 or 5 years a receiver that just comes out of nowhere and does something. Yeah. And look, like I've said, I like Will Shepherd a lot. I've known him a long time. One of my buddies was his head coach at Mandeville. He's a tall, really well put together wide receiver. You know who he reminds me of? A.T. Perry a little bit. Same color, same color, uniform, like they run a lot. I'm going to tell you, one thing to keep an eye on is the weapons that they do have. I know Will Shepherd returns. I know they have some question marks in some other areas, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to take Vandy here, Joe, in my pick 'em. I'm assuming that you are as well here.
Do we want to save doing our full pick 'em picks at the end?
Yeah, I guess we can. But I mean, it's week 0 and normally
all right.
we would. But I mean, I'm taking Vandy. And look, if you want to take the 17.5, I think
I'm not taking those points. I'm just
think Vandy's not going to beat them by more than 17.5?
No, I am, but like, what benefit do I get that in the pickup? Like, it doesn't benefit me to throw that out there. But yeah, I'm picking Vanderbilt. I mean, Hawaii is not going to travel all the way to Nashville and be in, a great state to play them. That's a long ass trip that they got to make. No, Vanderbilt's going to win this game. It's probably not going to be close.
Chris H says just a random thought, but remember in 2003 when Bama lost to Hawaii?
Did they?
I don't remember that, but he's probably right. I mean, if he's saying it, he's probably right. But no, I do not remember that.
We can't trust everything on the internet.
Elk says Vandy playing in a construction zone. Look, can we just, before we move on to USC and San Jose State, can we talk about that a minute? Like just a quick second. Like, bro, can you not plan better? Like, can you not plan better? You got all those smart people over there and you can't plan better?
Okay, here's my one thing with this. Having been around enough people involved with construction in my lifetime, because it's what my dad and my brother do. My dad was an architect. My brother works in construction. These idiots are never on time. Like it doesn't matter if you effectively.
Are you calling your dad and brother an idiot?
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
it
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that everyone's griping about this. Like, oh, it's a joke that their stadium's not done. It's a massive construction project that most of the time those types of things
they're not even a third of the way done. They just cleared everything out. Like,
it doesn't surprise me because that industry is notoriously slow. That was never going to get done on time. It was they could have maybe prepared by doing bits and pieces of it in stages, but I don't know, the whole thing's stupid.
Travis, I see your comment. We'll get to that in our pick'em. Let's move to USC San Jose State. Joe, I think that for me, maybe you can say this about Notre Dame. For me, as an quote unquote analyst, and I hate using that word, okay, but I'm using it because of Ryan Clark. Ha ha.
What would you prefer? What word would you
I don't know. I don't know. Savant. Anyway, college football savant.
Okay.
I'm extremely intrigued by this game. Now, I have no idea how I'm going to watch it because I don't have the Pac-12 network. I have no idea how I can watch it. If you're listening from the Pac-12, please tell me how I do watch this. I'm intrigued to see how they do defensively. I will turn the channel when their offense comes on. I know what I'm going to get. I just know what I'm going to get there. Hey, man, can you go out here and try to push a shutout? Like, can you hold them to 14 points? Can you show me that you're serious? And if they can't, Joe, okay. But if they can hold any team to under 7 points, I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm intrigued by this. I don't know what else to say about this, man. I don't think everybody's like, are they on upset alert? No, they're not on upset alert. They're not losing this game, okay? Like, be real with yourself. Caleb Williams and company, Lincoln Riley and company are going to come out here swinging. They got a lot to play for. I'm really just hoping for them, if I'm a USC fan, that they got something defensively. Like, show me that you can tackle in space.
So I was born to talk about this game here, Blake, because
born like BORN.
Yeah, I was born to talk about this game because this is the perfect sicko game for me. I'm not saying that this is going to be an upset. It's not going to be an upset. But to the point that you just made about how can USC's defense show us something? Can they show us some signs of dominance? Because San Jose State's not a doormat. It's not. It is one of the better Mountain West teams, and their quarterback, Siobhan Cordero, is a slippery, small, compact quarterback. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the best G5 quarterbacks in the entire country. The guy's a playmaker. If you can come in and you can completely slam the door shut, I will take you seriously. But if this game ends up being something stupid where you score 50, but you give up 28 or more, that to me is a failed outing. And USC fans, not going to like me saying this, it's possible for them to score that many points. They are an explosive, productive offense. Siobhan Cordero is an underrated player. You're going to be remembering his name because his name is going to get brought up a lot during this game if you don't do an effective enough job of containing him.
Well, it's a test. And USC has a lot of questions and they have a lot of answers that they're going to have to provide. And we will find those out throughout the season. San Jose State is not going to show you everything you need to know. and teams
Yes.
historically get better in week 1 going into week 2. But Joe, I want to see something. Like I want to see Joey. I let me tell you this, because in games like this, I don't really care about how really many points you give up or anything like that, unless it gets outrageous. Are you flying to the ball? Are you knocking someone's head off? Are you fundamentally sound? If they, like you just mentioned, if you don't contain, San Jose State does have a quarterback that's going to light you up. Those are the small things that I'm looking for. I don't really need all the flash and glamour and, hey, this guy had this many picks. And I don't really care about all that, okay? I care more about the fundamentals in a game like this. And can you just be, if you're if you're Lincoln Riley, like, hey, man, just how much improvement have we had? Now, one thing that I think is a little concerning, Tackett Curtis, the middle linebacker, looks like he's going to be one of the guys, if not the starter, a rotational piece. Joe, they're still playing a lot of young dudes. Can they be disciplined enough defensively to start the season off and show like, hey, man, we are serious and you should take us serious? So I know I'm repeating myself here, okay? Yeah. But I just think it's so much of a, like, man, you got to be fundamentally sound to make the playoff. Joe, the only reason why USC will not make the playoff, you ready? Mm-hmm. Alex Grinch didn't get fired in the offseason. Jim Leonard is not the defensive coordinator at USC. That's the reason why they won't win a national championship or make a playoff. It has nothing to do with Caleb. It has nothing to do with Lincoln. Has nothing to do with any of that. It comes down to one thing and one thing only: defense and Alex Grinch.
And that's my whole point that I'm talking about here, where they're going to beat San Jose State. We're not worried about San Jose State as an opponent, but it's what can we take away from the performance? Is this a game where everybody shows up and they're looking past the opponent and they're not rallying to the football? They're not flying all over the field to make plays. They're not excited to hit people. They're not juiced up for this opportunity to put a lesser opponent in the dirt? Or are they going to coast defensively and allow Siobhan Cordero and this offense to score touchdowns that they shouldn't be scoring? This game should be a shutout. This should be a shutout. You should be that much better than San Jose State. I'm not saying that it is a failure if they don't
shut out, because keeping a team from points is there's a reason why you don't see many of them.
If USC is as well-rounded and as good as it's been described by USC fans this offseason, they're going to come out swinging. That's my main takeaway from this. But I agree with everything that you're saying, that the way that they show up, the tone that they play with is critical for us understanding. Have they improved? Have they changed their demeanor from last season? Because they were sloppy all the time in a lot of these weak games.
Like Joe, I want to watch this. I want to see a safety come down in the box and light somebody's head up. Like I want them to see, like, get targeting for all I give a damn. Okay, don't really do that. I'm just messing. But if you do, okay, well, look, you got some aggression with you. Like, you're flying, hit some goddamn body. You know, USC's defenses are softened in a baby stool. They're softened in Charmin. I've literally played with Play-Doh that is tougher than their defense at times. That's it. And I'm going to tell you something. Mm-hmm. I think Lincoln's not going to be on any kind of hot seat, so don't take it the wrong way. Lincoln's going to start feeling some heat if he kept Alex Grinch another year and didn't do anything with him, and he deserves it. And you know what else? From a global scale, not just a fan scale, but a national scale, Joe, I'm going to start really ripping on him if this defense isn't improved. Like, hey, man, you might have
on him now. That's what I've been doing.
No, not the way that we should be. Because when you talk about top 5 coaches in college football, he's always at least somewhat in the conversation, right? Like, he's in a pecking order, okay? Mm-hmm. Whether some people have him in there or don't, it's irrelevant. But he's considered one of the top 5, the top 8 best head coaches in college football. If he doesn't fix this defensively, then he's out of that conversation for me. Because you got to make changes in your career and in your life and in your business to be successful. We see college coach, Kirby doesn't give a damn. Nick doesn't give a damn. Brian Kelly doesn't give a damn. Let's just call it what it is. Now that we've seen him do it, Dabo doesn't really give a damn. He like, hey, man, I have an issue offensively. And at least everybody wants to trash on Dabo. Dabo was aware enough to say, I'm going to get the best offensive coordinator in the country, his brother, right? And let me tell you this. Mm-hmm. Name a bad Riley brother quarterback that they've ever had.
That's a good point.
Never.
College QB. Yeah, there's not a single one.
Never have had a bad college QB ever in the history of their life. He needs to start taking shit seriously. Show me that you've taken shit seriously. All right. Let's move to the premier matchup of the day. We have, just a small rent program, according to my buddy Swami. But did you see that tweet from Swami?
That guy's a dumbass. That guy's an absolute dumbass to think that statement. Yeah, all the recruits that they've signed, all the 5-star recruits, all the top 10 recruiting classes, the millions of weekly viewers for just their basic games. Yeah, man, they're a ghost of what they were. Shut the hell up. That guy's a dumbass.
All right, so Navy versus Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. In Dublin, Ireland. Okay. There's 3 things I want to see in this game. You ready? Number 1, green beer. If I don't see green beer in the stadium, is anybody in there really Irish?
I don't think it's not St. Patrick's Day every single day of the week in Ireland. That's not I don't think that's how that works, unless I'm missing something.
Okay, well, I want to see Irish beer in Dublin, Ireland, and I want to see some red-headed Irish people. That's what I want to see.
There will be plenty.
I hope so. Number 2, complete opposite of what I just said about USC.
Okay.
Defensively, you're fine. Let's call it what it is. Defensively, You're fine. You got to get out of the Brian Kelly mold and blueprint here. You have a new offensive coordinator. Tommy Rees isn't there anymore. You don't have any excuse to have the same identity as Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame. Look, and Joe, and in all seriousness, it's time to move on. Spread that bitch out. Get in 4 wide. Do what you got to do. I know you might have a tight end here or there that you need to incorporate. Sounds good. Do whatever you got to do. This whole running the ball down people's throat, get rid of it. Let's go out there and score. Like defensively, it is what it is, but against a team that runs the triple option. Navy is always going to be disciplined. Always. It's why they're always beating the shit out of everybody. Number 1 thing for Notre Dame, I want to see you go get 45-50. I want you to go get 45-50, not by running the football. Joe, there has to be an identity change at Notre Dame. I had not said this all offseason because I was waiting for the playing portion of the year. Let's go change this identity. Because the Brian Kelly mold and fixture of how to do it, Marcus Freeman, you're not Brian Kelly. You can't replicate what the same head coach was just doing. Now, I know personnel dictated some of that offensively, and you had Tommy Rees. He's out the door. Let's go change some things. Let's go score.
Real Notre Dame fans know one thing for sure, that the Navy game every single year, no matter when it is always it's always a really important indicator for success in a season. The years that they've lost or they've played them way too close, I would argue have been some of their lesser seasons, some of their less dominant seasons. The times that they've completely smoked and beat the shit out of them, those are the years that I've known Notre Dame is a good team. I agree with part of what you said. This is a game where you just put up as many points as you can. This is a bitter rival. This is a team that you don't need to hold any regard for. I understand it's the Naval Academy, but you have been rivals with this team since the inception of college football. Come out swinging, put up 50 points, as you said. Instill some confidence in the fans and also strike some doubt in the commentary that you had during the offseason that they don't have any weapons. You were one of the biggest critics of their weapons. What can they do with stretching the field with their receivers? That to me is one thing that I want to see. I disagree, though. I don't need to see them completely shift their identity. I think that Marcus Freeman is trying to build this team as a tough physical team up front that is going to build their offense and their offensive momentum from running the football. Audric Estime is a damn tank. And all I want is Audric Estime to come out after 15 carries because he's bowled his way through that Navy defense.
Not run the football now. I didn't say that.
Okay. I get what you're saying. You're saying just be a little more creative. Don't do the Tommy Rees BS where it was inside run, and then a screen pass. It was the same damn thing every single year.
I mean, Joe, look, you're going to hate this comp. You're going to really hate this comp. Georgia offensively was top 5 in every offensive metric last year.
Yeah.
Okay. And every metric looked like Joe, you have a really good quarterback. I know Andre Estime is really good. Joe, he does not have
Audric,
to carry,
the comments. Audric. Yeah,
Audric Estime, okay? Just because he's in a Jerry Maguire remake. Wasn't that Estime in the remake?
It was him.
Okay.
It was him.
Joe, I promise you this in today's society. How many times did Stetson Bennett have to throw the ball against Ohio State to win? You got to be more explosive offensively. And I get the whole, in the part of the identity change is to show that even if it during the season, okay, you go back to more of the Brian Kelly mold and identity, that's fine. You don't have to do it in this game to win. Because you know what would be scary as hell? Oh, shit, Notre Dame can actually score. Oh, okay. They can actually go – if you put 45 passing attempts on Sam Hartman's back, you're okay with it. You can win in any style. Joe, in today's college football, it's proven over the last 10 years, you have to be as balanced and as good at running the football and throwing the football to win a natty. Okay, everybody looked at 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama, 2018 Clemson. You know what that team did multiple times throughout the year? Their quarterback had 45 passing attempts to win a game. They got to get to that identity. That's the identity Marcus Freeman needs to go after. That's my opinion. And I've constantly said that every preseason I've done these shows. And, Joe, it's always panned out. So that's where I'm going to say. That's where I'm going to be.
Yeah, I can understand the sentiment that you're coming from. I'm happy that you've kind of finally admitted that Sam Hartman's a really good quarterback. But again, just
football, I don't mess around. I think you know that by now.
Just to reiterate my point here and the point that you're making, this Navy team is at one of the lowest points that it's been in a long time.
I agree.
Completely reestablishing. And I know Navy doesn't get the same level of exposure and focus as they usually do. I mean, when they're good, they'll be ranked in the back half of the top 25. It happens all the time.
Right.
But this team is down. This team is bad. They're not as good as they've been. They need to kick the crap out of them. If they leave this game and it is, I think that the point spread is 20. If Notre Dame doesn't cover, I think that that's a failure. And I think Notre Dame fans,
will be a failure.
If you don't agree with that, then you need to look at yourself in the mirror and understand what needs to be accomplished in 2023 in college football. You can't be keeping a game against Navy under 20 points. You just
know what else?
If you're that good.
You know what else it would? Well, you know what else it would help too for Notre Dame?
What?
Recruiting. Because listen, I don't think that they have the weapons ultimately to make a playoff or a push for one when it comes down to it. But look, man, we've seen teams, private school teams and high academic teams. But look at what Harbaugh was able to get from a skill athletic standpoint at Stanford. Buddy, the reason that he was USC, whatever, the reason that they were able to get those dudes there, why? Because offensively, they had a quarterback named Andrew Luck. When you show offensively that you want to do things, kids will show up. Joe, Marcus Freeman can find ways to get kids in there. You know that, and it's the biggest untold truth. Jacob Mears says, I don't think Notre Dame will necessarily want to be facing the run forcing the run this year like they did last year. And I agree with that. He also and Travis says there's a world Navy keeps this game extremely close. There is. So let's talk about that. Joe, the reason that you won't do this is because, look, triple option teams in week one are never easy. Ever. No. So, look, man, they're going to run the football a lot, and they're going to run the clock a lot. And look, what we haven't talked about yet, the clock does not stop on first downs anymore. Tick, 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 tick. The clock's going to continue to run. Maybe it is not a bad spread at 20 going, especially, Joe, because they're going to Ireland.
Yes.
So
if
you beat them by 17 because the clock tick, 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 I don't think it's necessarily they're not that good. The eye test offensively will tell you what you need to know. It doesn't really have any, you're not going to know about them defensively for a little minute, right? Like there's nothing Navy's going to do that you're like, oh man, we got to worry about this for when we play USC. That it doesn't work like that. Offensively, can you separate yourselves? That's the only thing about this game. If you're looking from a projection standpoint, because what is Navy going to do that offensively or defensively against USC that you're worried about in a couple of weeks?
Absolutely nothing, because it's all you need to do to win against a triple option team. And Devin Butler and CJ Process, I got to hear them talk about it, who's our Notre Dame show on Believe.
The second time you brought him up on
I'm going to keep bringing him up, man. I'm so proud of being able to work with those guys. It's cool. But they talked about it's just about discipline. It's about, playing your gaps, knowing exactly where you need to be, not getting caught up in any of the BS. But again, that's also part of what I've been talking about here, where you're supposed to be more physically gifted than their corners. You're supposed to be bigger, faster, stronger than any of the guys that they have in their secondary. You should create separation. You should be consistently open. Their pass rushers should not be getting past your offensive line and getting in Sam Hartman's face. He should have all the time in the world, and there should be a lot of open receivers, and you should be picking up a lot of chunk gains. It shouldn't be anything other than that.
I look at this game a couple years ago. So I didn't go last year because I just was like, you know what, man, I really don't want to look at a year one coach. To your point, this is the last point I was going to make of this game. Navy versus Notre Dame in 2021, I believe. They were the 10th ranked team, if I'm not mistaken. They had a loss, but Cone went 23 of 29 for 269 yards, but 270 yards and a tutty. That's highly proficient. Now push that limit, push that more, right? That's all that I'm asking for. All right, you want to do pick'ems very quickly?
Yeah, let's do it, and we'll wrap.
All right, so let's start with Notre Dame and Navy. I think the both of us are picking Notre Dame, correct?
Yeah, I'm picking Notre Dame. I'm not gonna even think twice about that.
And just to recap, both of us have Vandy over Hawaii and USC over San Jose State.
Yes. And we both, as you're saying, we both have USC.
Okay, let me get to this. So some other of these games that we have, this one's an interesting one. Ohio at San Diego State. Joe, that line's at -2 in favor of San Diego State.
So I'm forgetting what the first name is, because so you remember Rourke, the Jacksonville quarterback who had that crazy play?
Yeah.
So he's got a little brother who's the starting quarterback at Ohio right now, and he's just as good. He's actually bigger and stronger than the one that made those plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love what they have offensively. I'm actually surprised that San Diego State is the favorite in this game. I'm like in Ohio in this one. That's who I'm going to pick with this.
All right. This might be where me and you go different here.
I'm going San Diego State.
I'm going San Diego State.
Just trying to go against me. That's what this is.
No, I don't like taking group of 5 opponents early in the year on the road that far. They historically do not perform well.
No.
So I'm going to go with the people out there in Vegas. Okay. Give me the Aztecs. I'm going to take San Diego State in that one.
Wannabe ass Pac-12 team. That's what they are.
Well, not anymore. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to.
Exactly. Nobody wants them.
FIU at Louisiana Tech.
This one I'm a little perplexed on, because is Louisiana Tech really that much?
Rustin, baby. stuff gets goofy at night in Ruston. Don't overthink yourself here.
Is Louisiana Tech that good, or is FIU that bad?
I think FIU is just that bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Louisiana Tech. I'm not gonna overthink this.
All right, so either one of us is gonna be 4-1, and the other one's gonna be 5-0. So we'll see. I guess to just let the listeners know, we're gonna be doing this all year, and we're gonna keep tallies. And so at the end of the year, I forgot to mention this. We didn't mention this to our listeners. So this is what Joe and I are doing on our pick'ems. Every single week, all year long, we are going to do a pick'em, and we're going to keep up with our numbers, where how many I win, how many I lose, how many Joe wins, how many Joe loses. And if we do actually do a spread, and if it ties, we'll do the, slash whatever the tie would be. At the end of the year, whoever wins, I'll buy Joe a gift, and if he wins, and if I win, he'll buy me a gift. So that is our little bet here.
To get a little clarification on this, I have full discretion on what I'm allowed to get you. That's what's allowed.
Because I'm actually going to give you a good gift. So about this, okay. I was planning on getting you like a $200 bottle of bourbon.
Oh, that's okay. Well, okay, so what I was thinking, and I'm not going to do this. I'm kind of big.
You were going to buy me a Notre Dame shirt and send it to me.
That would have been a good idea. That actually would have been a really good idea. But I did a similar thing with my other co-host, Sean, who was my roommate in college. He's a big anime fan, so I bought him a shirt that said "Just a girl who loves anime," and he's 6'6", he's 300 pounds, and he used to wear that thing to the gym and stuff. So it was a perfect. I wouldn't get you exactly that, but I get you something similar. But I will. If I lose, I'm going to get you something nice. I will get you something good. I'm not going to treat you.
I don't really. So listen, you want to hear something interesting about me before we get to Swamp Kings really, 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 really quickly?
Yeah.
I don't like people giving me gifts. Believe it.
I don't either. I kind of hate
I'm not. It makes me feel awkward.
I've never.
If you give me a really good gift, like a really good gift, I'm excited. Right. But I'm just like, oh yay, pair of socks.
I don't know about you, but I have had. It's similar in that line. I've had a horrendous track record in terms of receiving gifts, specifically from girlfriends in the past. I have never gotten a good gift from a girlfriend. Not once.
Wait till you get married. They do get better.
Worse. Oh, they do get better.
No, they do get better. Yeah, because it's your money anyway, so you're just going to give your money to.
That's a good point.
All right. Anyway, Swamp Kings, the Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow, Brandon Spikes, Untold documentary came out. I got to tell you, buddy. Spoiler alert to anybody who hadn't watched it. It was mid. It was so mid. I was perceiving all of this to be oh, okay, so they start winning these national titles, but all of a sudden they start getting in a lot of trouble, and this is the reason why. It was just all on the field stuff. I was completely duped, man. Completely duped.
After I watched the Johnny Football doc, I had a really bad feeling about this. And here's what I'll say. 30 minutes in, I tweeted this out. I was juiced up recounting and getting to relive all the games. And I was really young when all this happened. So I wasn't really as cognizant of what was going on. And yeah, there was a lot of drama, a lot of on-field drama. And that stuff was cool, getting to see all that, because it is a really good story. But that's a quarter of it, man. We got Cam Newton stealing laptops. We've got the Pouncey brothers being
even mentioned.
Right. Not even mentioned. You got Aaron Hernandez doing whatever he was doing that was never going to be uncovered. There was one way to produce this, and they clearly didn't have the agreement to do it from the participants. This is a Jekyll and Hyde team. It's the one on the field with Tim Tebow, your Lord and Savior, leading you on the field, and what he represented, and all the guys that he rallied to get to do great things. That's the one side of this, and all the effed up stuff that went off the field. That is how it should have been portrayed and how it should have been described.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
It's a normal SEC team. High successful one. You ready for it? You ready for it?
Wait.
Hold on.
The way they were portrayed was as a normal SEC team. This isn't a real normal. If we actually got access to all the
Georgia says hi.
They don't have they didn't have a murderer on their team.
I mean, correct. Jordan Davis would like you to tell everybody on Twitter that he didn't do anything wrong.
That's a good point.
Brandon Miller was involved in a murder case. Big programs always have these issues. They always have something off the field that's going on. Let me give an example. Everybody's freaking out because Paul Skeens is in relations with Olivia Dunn. You know, like, I mean, everybody's got BS off the – good teams normally have BS. You know, remember who else had BS? Miami, USC. Here's what I want to – here's what I want to –
The Miami docs that they did on ESPN, that was what I was hoping it could be because they dug a lot of shit up. That's what it could have been.
It could have been that. That's what I was expecting going in. Like, I was fully expecting that Miami doc to be this one.
Like, they used to talk about in the part one, how when they played their bowl game – they were going to strip clubs the night before the game. I wanted that kind of information. They were just, look, I'm out on the untold stories thing. They did a really good Manti Te'o doc, and it's very clear that these are just puff pieces. That's all that they're ever going to be.
I guess. I wanted to see some naked titties.
You thought you were going to get that?
Honestly, the way that Miami one went, and they're in the nightclub and Michael Irvin's got his face in the middle of two butt cheeks, yes, I did.
Yeah, we weren't getting that.
I mean, to some extent, I was like, to some extent too, I mean, they were talking about Johnny Manziel snorting coke off of girls' butts in that documentary.
Yeah, that was a little bit.
I'm like, okay, so if they do that for Johnny Manziel, my God, what are they going to do for Florida?
No.
You know? And Joe, when it got released and I saw 4 episodes, I was like, because I said this on Monday, I was like, man, I hope it's more than 1 hour. And you were like, no, it's probably going to be an hour. I was like, no, I hope it's 4 episodes. And it was 4 episodes, and it sucked. Like, I thought I was getting the Manti Te'o one.
No, we got duped. We got duped.
By the way, oh my God.
Don't. I don't want to hear about Manti. I don't. That was last year. We missed
Bro, what a dummy. I mean,
he was down bad. I don't know what to tell you.
How about that? Before I let you out of here, before I got it, because I do got to really go. How about that Heisman class?
Which one? The year that was
Johnny
a weird
Manziel,
year. Colin Klein.
Yeah.
Manti Te'o.
What wasn't it those 3? I think it was those 3, right?
It was those 3. That was a weird year.
Nobody did investigating on Johnny Manziel, Manti Te'o.
Nothing.
God, y'all are so bad at y'all's jobs. We'll see y'all Sunday, guys. Peace.